بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء وسيد المرسلين حبيب إله العالمين المصطفى أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المنتجبين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. صلى الله عليك يا سيدي ويا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله. صلى الله عليك يا ابن رسول الله يا رحمة الله الواسعة ويا باب نجاة الأمة. رزقنا الله في الدنيا زيارتكم وشفاعتكم في الدنيا والآخرة. أما بعد، فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في كتابه المجيد وقرآنه الحميد وقوله الحق: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ومن أحسن قولا ممن دعا إلى الله وعمل صالحا وقال إنني من المسلمين. صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد. We're commemorating tonight the wafat of Al-Imam Al-Hassan ibn Ali Al-Zaki Al-Askari salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi. This Imam, who was born in Medina, but at a young age went with his father, Al-Imam Al-Hadi, salamullahi alayh, to Samarra as he was summoned by the Khalifa of his time, Al-Mutawakkil Al-Abbasi. And this Imam lived a very short or relatively short lifespan. He was born in the year 232 after Hijrah and was martyred in the year 260 after Hijrah, making his age at around 28 or 29 years of age approximately, during which he spent about 23 years with his father, salamullahi alayh, and about 6 or so years as an imam. Despite his difficult life and his short life, this Imam gave us a lot of things and taught us a lot. We will concentrate on his nobility and character, Akhlaq, inshallah. Before I get into the discussion about his nobility and Akhlaq, I would like to touch upon two important points. First of all, in Islam, Akhlaq, virtuous deeds, virtuous actions, virtuous manners, they must be coupled with niyyah, intention. And that is something that may be unique in Islam. You might find someone doing a good act. Islam says that's good, but what is the niyyah behind it? And two, is doing the good act in itself. The niyyah itself is good, but also the belief driving this good act, driving this niyyah is also important. So those two things are important. We may be able to understand this from the ayah that I just recited. Ayah number 33 from Surah Fussilat. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this ayah says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّنْ دَعَا إِلَى اللَّهِ. Who has a better speech, a better saying, better actions, qawl, than he who invites people to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now that sounds really reasonable. Someone telling people, remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, think about your akhirah, read the Quran, understand the Quran. All this sounds really good, doesn't it? But the Quran adds another component. That by itself is not good enough. مِمَّنْ دَعَا إِلَى اللَّهِ. In fact, the Quran has two more components. وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا. What does عَمِلَ صَالِحًا mean? He does good deeds, virtuous deeds. دَعَا إِلَى اللَّهِ. He calls people, worship Allah, remember Allah, think about Allah. But when it comes to his actions, they're contradictory. وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا. And third, or another point, وَقَالَ إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. His actions are also good, but the actions, they need to stem from the proper source, the proper drive. What is that? His belief. وَقَالَ إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. Muslimin here does not only mean, says the shahadatain, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, and the second shahada. But rather, it's one who submits to Allah. I submit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is a higher degree, a higher ranking. Yani, Ya Allah, whatever you do, I am pleased with. I submit to you, Ya Allah. وَقَالَ إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. This stems from a high ranking of faith, i'tiqad, aqeedah, in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So calling people to Allah in itself is good. But what is the reason behind it? What is the motivation behind it? Imam As-Sadiq alayhi salam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad, told Abu Hanifa Nu'man, Abu Hanifa, he told him, by which criteria and authority do you give fatwa to people? Who gave you that authority to give fatwa? To give issue laws, Islamic laws, and Islamic jurisprudence? On what basis? On the basis of Quran. He gave him a couple of verses of the Quran which he did not know how to interpret. On the basis of hadith, he gave him a couple of hadiths which he did not understand how to interpret and how to use. Then on what basis? On the basis of your own opinion, on your own opinion of what I see as right and what I see as wrong. Then Imam to another person, a man who was from Sham, he told him, if that is what you do, then you have associated yourself with Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. You've said, I'm equivalent to Rasulullah now, indirectly. If you say, I will tell people to do whatever I think is right. Who has that power? Who has that authority? Only Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi does. What gives you that authority? What gives you that power? Who gave you? Who allowed you? Yes, we have some companions and students of the Imam salamullahi alayhim, who the Imam tells them, you go ahead and you are fuqaha. You're scholars of jurisprudence. You can go, no problem. He gives them that permission. But others like him, he did not have that criteria. Although he used to call people to Allah, in his way. He used to tell people to pray in his way. But then what was the problem? He did not have the proper tools. وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا وَقَالَ إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. Then Abu Hanifa told the Imam Salamullahi alayh, okay, Ibn Rasulullah, I admit I should not be giving fatwa anymore. I should stop. Imam alayhi salam responded, قال هيهات, said never. حب الرياسة ليس بتاركك. The love of authority is not going to let go of you. Authority. So why is he calling people to pray? Why is he asking people to fast? What is the drive, the motivation? He likes the authority, the position. So then, Quran comes to say such actions are invalid because your niyyah is not valid. Although the action itself is good. You tell someone pray. You tell someone fast. You tell someone read the Quran, understand the Quran. But the niyyah. So remember this. The intention behind the action is very important. The akhlaq and even the ethics, the manners. Generosity is very good. Someone might spend a lot of money building hospitals, building schools. In fact, we see people in some countries, they invest a lot of money building hospitals, building schools, building orphanages. But he has a plan. 10 years down the road, he plans to run for a political office. So through 10 years, he works really hard. He puts in the foundation, such that his reputation is given among people as a very nice person, a very kind person, a helpful person. His niyyah is what though? 10 years down the road, to be elected for that political office. That is his intention. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا. عَمَلُ الصَّالِحِ. Because عَمَلُ الصَّالِحِ identifies the clear intention of the individual. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وَالْعَصْرِ إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ. The human is at a loss. One of the ulama, when it comes to this ayah, he says, I clearly understood this ayah one day when I was walking in the street. And back in the old days, do you guys remember before, they used to sell refrigerators and all these goodies back in the old days? There were people who used to sell ice. Do you remember the people who used to sell ice? I don't know if some of you have seen some people like this. There are people who would sell blocks of ice. This alim says, I was walking by a person who was selling ice. And this person was calling. Says, people, come and buy the ice from me quickly. Have mercy on the one whose capital is melting right in front of his eyes. The capital is melting. He says, when I heard this man saying this, the capital, the ice is melting. If you don't buy it quickly, it's gone. Khalas. He says, I understood this ayah. He says, that person, that word, made me better understand, helped me better understand this ayah. Our actions are like melting. Our days are melting. They're gone. Every breath you take, you're getting closer to what? To your grave. The actions are melting. The days are melting. The age is going. إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ. He's at a loss. إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. Those people who believe in Allah But not just believe. This idea that Iman is only in the heart, no, that's wrong. Iman is not only in the heart. Yes, it stems from the heart. But it must be coupled with what? Amalus salih. Person says, I'm a Muslim, I'm a good person. I don't pray. Allah will forgive me. We say, no, this is not good enough for you. Keep it to yourself. I don't wear hijab. Keep that to yourself. Amalus salih. Iman is not only in the heart. Yes, it stems from the heart, but must be coupled with amalus salih. وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. So here, Allah says, وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّنْ دَعَا إِلَى اللَّهِ. Who is better than he who calls to Allah? وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا. And he does virtuous deeds. And then وَقَالَ إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. وَقَالَ إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. And he said that I am among those who submit. Of course, this saying is not just I say, rather actions. In actions, he submits to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now that we have an understanding that the actions we do should stem with the proper intentions and should stem with the proper foundation of aqa'id. And hence, when a person does these actions, they will carry a lot more resonance and effect on people. Ibn Abil Hadid al-Mu'tazili, one of the interpreters of Nahj al-Balagha from about 800 years ago, when he comes to interpret the sermon of Imam Ali alayhi salam with regards to the interpretation of Surah Al-Takathur, Al-Hakum Al-Takathur, where Imam talks about the Akhirah, about death, about the questioning in the grave, about the realities we will face. Ibn Abil Hadid himself, he says, over the past 50 years or so of my life, I have read many works of literature on this topic, the topic of death, the Akhirah. I've read many. He says, but nothing has moved me like these words of Ali ibn Abi Talib salamullahi alayhi. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa Muhammad. He says, I have read this sermon over 1,000 times. 1,000 times. And this man is Mu'tazili, Mu'tazilite in his Aqidah. He's not a follower Shia in his Aqidah. Now, if you read his interpretation of Nahj al-Balagha, you'll know what kind of a scholar he was. When he talks about linguistics, when he talks about literature, he knew his literature very well. Read his interpretation, 20 volumes of Nahj al-Balagha. He knows his literature. When he says, I have not read, or when he says, I have read a lot of literature, he really means he's read a lot of literature. And when he says, I have not come across something like this, he really means it. Because he's not a follower of Ahlul Bayt, so why would he pretend? And he says the reason is because the man who said it is speaking from his heart and is applying the words he's saying. He's applying it. Such were Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam. That's why their words carry a lot of weight. And their words transform people. Transform people. When it comes to akhlaq, virtuous actions, they must come from the proper intention, the niyyah. And they must be stemmed or coupled with the amal salih, which is a reflection of the good niyyah, the intention. And it should be coupled with the proper belief. Aqidah in Allah, that I'm doing this because of qurbatan ila Allah ta'ala, of my belief in Allah. The more a person believes in Allah, the higher he goes, then the higher the change will be on himself and on others. إِنَّ الصَّلَاةَ تَنْهَى عَنِ الْفَحْشَاءِ. And what else? وَالْمُنْكَرِ. What does that mean? You tell me. Inna in Arabic is adatu ta'keed, means to emphasize, to stress. Inna, indeed. As-salat tanha an al-fahsha wal-munkar. What does tanha an al-fahsha wal-munkar mean? Do you know what that means? Tanha. It stops. It forbids. It doesn't allow you to get near fahsha and munkar, evil actions, sins. Now I ask you an honest question, and I ask this question to myself. I'm included as well. How many of us does our salat stop us from fahsha and munkar? How many of us our salat stops us from doing ghiba, backbiting, from talking about another person, from lying, from looking at the haram, from listening to the haram? How many of us? And I speak about myself, I don't know about you. So where's the problem? We have a problem in our performance of the action, in our niyyah, in our submission to Allah. When you start doing salat the way salat is to be performed, أشهد أنك قد أقمت الصلاة. أقمت الصلاة. You perform salat with understanding, the way it is to be performed. When the imams used to stand for prayers, they used to shake and tremble. Imam Sajjad, Zainul Abidin, al-Islam, used to turn yellow out of fear in his salat. That salat, aqamta salat. Hence, it's reflected on his actions. It's reflected on his actions. That's why Imam Ali alayhi salam says, Husnul khuluq, virtuous manners, virtuous actions. Thamaratul aql, the fruit, the result of aql, mind. If you remember a few years ago, maybe a couple of years ago, I said there are 3, maybe 4 driving forces for every action the human being takes. Do you remember? Do you remember what they were? We said 1 is desire. We eat and drink because of desire. 1 is anger. You might beat someone up because of your anger. You get angry. And 1 is what? Aql, your mind. Your aql. There is a 4th one, but we'll leave it for now. Why do you wake up in the middle of the night to pray Salatul Layl? Your body is saying, I'm tired. Your desire is saying, I need to sleep. But you drag yourself out of bed. What is dragging you out of bed? What is it? It's not your desire, definitely. It's not your anger, definitely. So there's something else. What is it? Your aql is. Your mind. Because your aql says, I need to obey Allah. I need to pray Salatul Layl. The honor of a mu'min is to pray Salatul Layl. The honor, Sharaful Mu'min. It's an honorable. Indeed, a person who prays Salatul Layl with sincerity to Allah, of course, the niyyah, the intention, he becomes honorable in dunya and in akhirah. So he says, you know what? I want Allah to be pleased with me. So I drag myself out of bed. The more you leave your aql in charge, the more you'll be in Allah's obedience. Is that clear? The more your aql is in charge. You eat some really good food. Your desire says, this is really good, let me eat more. Your aql says, no, this is enough. Khalas. Otherwise, you're going to hurt yourself. Today, one of the major problems for many of the illnesses is our food. Today. In one country, interestingly, in a country, they did a study after the introduction of a major franchise of fast food chains. Major fast food chain entered into that country. Okay? They did a study about the rate of diabetes before and after the introduction of this franchise. They saw diabetes started to increase on the rise. For example, diabetes was like this. Then when that franchise was introduced, at this part of the graph, diabetes started to go like this. Now, we can't say that it is because of this franchise, but apparently the etiquettes of the food change in that country, which may be responsible to the increase of diabetes, for example. Okay? Your aql would say, wait a minute. No. Enough is enough. That's it. Khalas. Imam Al-Sadiq alayhi salam says, we are a group of people who do not eat until we become hungry. Only when we're hungry, we eat. And we never leave the food full. We eat enough just to get a little bit going. Otherwise, we don't stuff ourselves. That is the ethics of eating. Aql is driving this. The more aql is in charge, you become angry. Someone comes, says a word to you. You become angry. And instead of you getting up to punch him in the face, you say, wait a minute, let's think about this. Your husband, your wife says a word that angers you. You control yourself. It's okay. You know what? No problem. I have seen many divorces or cases of divorce because the husband could not bear a word of his wife, or vice versa. If they have the patience a little bit, sabr, if they keep the aql in charge, because he gets angry, she gets angry, and they start fighting. But when the aql is in charge, aql says, well, it's okay. The mind is always in Allah's obedience. And hence, when you have the mind in charge, you're praying salat, Allahu Akbar. Then you start thinking about your work, your family, your children. Your aql says, wait a minute, you're now between Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in front of Allah. You're communicating with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Shouldn't you be ashamed of yourself? Then your aql start thinking, okay, yes. The more you do this, the aql, keep it in charge, then the result of it is what? Husnul khuluq. Your akhlaq. Is that clear? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Imam Al-Askari, salamullahi alayhi. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. It was a good salawat, but there are people falling asleep. So let's have a louder salawat so they wake up. My voice tonight, I guess, is putting people to sleep. I have that tendency tonight, I guess. So, him. Let's look at his virtuous character, Akhlaq. Imam Salamullahi alayhi apparently spent a lot of the time in Samarra inside the prison. Now, he was under house arrest. I mentioned this in the past. One of the titles of Al-Imam Salamullahi alayhi is Al-Askari. Askari comes from the word askar. What does askar mean? Army. Imam was living in a military compound. You know how we have some military compounds around here? He was living in one of them. So imagine how much freedom will you have when you're living inside a military compound, askar. Did not have much freedom at all. And in addition to this, he was put in the prison for long periods of time. One of the ministers of the Khulafa by the name of Salih ibn Wasif, they told him, in the prison, why is it that these prisoners who are, the prison guards are giving him so much flexibility to Imam Al-Askari? So they did not want even Imam Al-Askari to have flexibility in the prison. Salih ibn Wasif responds, one of the ministers. He says, what do you want me to do? I chose two of the worst people I have in the army. The worst. And I kept them their prison guards. After a short time, they became companions of the Imam. Became his companions. They started praying, fasting. They changed completely. What do you want me to do? I'll show you. Call them over. They brought them, those two guards. He said, what's the matter with you? They said, what do you want us to do? This man, whenever we see him, he's either praying or fasting. And whenever he speaks to us, we tremble. We shake. He's in the prison. He has hayba, honor, some dignity. I don't know if you visited some of the ulama, the true scholars, true ulama. When you go to see them, you'll see there is a stress, a certain hayba. This is a alim, who's not, he's not ma'soom. He's in the path of the ma'soomin alayhim salam. But he himself is not a ma'soom. Yet he has so much respect, so much honor, that you are overwhelmed sometimes. You sit, politely next to him. You speak politely next to him. In fact, when you look at him, you kind of a little bit, yourself might get some tremor. This is a alim, a faqih, a marja', a mujtahid. Imagine the Imam salamullahi alayhi. How much hayba he had, how much dignity he had, how much respect he had, how much honor he had. Even though he's in the prison. That is the honor of ibadah, of worship. Imam As-Sadiq salamullahi alayhi says in a hadith, whomever wants respect with no family, you don't have a big family, you're by yourself, but people respecting you. Fear, but without authority. People to fear you when you have no authority. You don't have any power, any political power. Honor without wealth. You're poor, you don't have money, but people honor you, respect you. Then, what do? فَخْرُجْ مِنْ ذُلِّ مَعْصِيَةِ اللَّهِ إِلَىٰ عِزِّ طَاعَتِهِ. Then transfer yourself from the humiliation of Allah's disobedience to the honor of Allah's obedience. The more a person becomes devoted to Allah, that person will be respected because he's in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A man came to Imam Al-Hussein salamullahi alayhi on the day of Ashura to kill him. Imam was covered in blood salamullahi alayhi. Before Shimr came, this man came, he said, I wanted to win the prize. He said, I saw the Imam covered in blood salamullahi alayhi, but I have never seen someone in his state covered in blood, yet has so much hayba, has so much respect, has so much honor. In that state, he said, when I saw him, I started shaking. The sword fell out of my hand and I ran away. I said, forget this. This is when he's in that state. Imagine. This is a man who submit. وَقَالَ إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. They told those two guards, told Salih ibn Wasif in front of people, this man, Al-Imam Al-Askari alayhi salam, when he speaks to us, we tremble. We realize this man is not an ordinary man. He can't be an ordinary man. So we followed him. We loved him. We fell in love with him. This is the akhlaq. Now, akhlaq has levels, brothers and sisters. Manners has levels. It's good that you forgive the person who hurts you. Right? Is that what the Quran says? You forgive people. In fact, the ayah after this ayah, ادفع بالتي هي أحسن. The ayah just after this ayah, number 34. ولا تستوي الحسنة ولا السيئة ادفع بالتي هي أحسن فإذا الذي بينك وبينه عداوة كأنه ولي حميم. That if someone does bad thing to you, you do return it with what? With a bad thing as well? An eye for an eye? What do? أحسن. ادفع بالتي هي أحسن. Right? Someone might say, I forgive that person, but I cannot what? What? Forget. Right? I can't forgive, but I cannot forget. So forgiving is good. That's a level of akhlaq, of ethics, of akhlaq. But forgetting is even on a higher level. Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen, salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayh. He says in the hadith, من أشرف أعمال الكريم, one of the most honorable deeds of a generous man, غفلته عما يعلم. غفلته here means that he makes himself forget what he knows. One of the best actions of a kareem, an honorable man, the best honorable deed of a generous man, an honorable man, is what? He not only forgives, he what? Forgets. Ghafla. What does ghafla mean? Ghafla means you forget. When you're driving, for example, on the highway, the speed limit is 100. You're driving. As long as you have attention, you're driving on 100. Sometimes your mind wanders off, right? Then you might speed up a little bit. When your mind wandered off and you started to speed up a little bit, that's called ghafla. The minute you wake up again from your ghafla, what do? You start going back to the speed limit. Okay? Especially if you know there are cameras watching you, the whole road. You start going back. When you realize there are cameras all the way, you make sure that you pay attention. But sometimes you forget. So speed up. That's ghafla, forgetful. Imam says, one of the most honorable things of an honorable man is to forget what he knows. What does it mean to forget? In the state of forgetfulness? No. It means he himself, every time a person hurts him, he deliberately forgets about it. He forces himself to forget about it. You know how sometimes you have a task to do, but sometimes you get busy. You forget about that task. Has that happened to you? You want to do something, and then something comes up. That something makes you forget to do that. And then someone says, did you finish this? Oh, no, I forgot. Because you kept yourself busy with something else, right? Now, if a person keeps himself busy with his own shortcomings, then he will forget about the other people's shortcomings and what they have done to him. Whomever, the hadith says, whomever is busy about his own shortfalls, he'll be too busy about other people's shortfalls. He's busy with himself. I have so much between me and Allah that I need to take care of. Now I need to worry about what this man said to me. Sometimes we cannot bear a word another person says about us. We cannot bear an action another person does to us. Here the Imam says, no, to be honorable, to reach a higher rank, then you need to forget. How does that come? From your intention, from your submission to Allah. Submission has ranks, right? Not everyone submits the same way. إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. Imam Al-Askari alayhi salam had a brother by the name of Ja'far al-Kadhab. What does Kadhab mean? Liar. وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. His own brother from Imam Al-Hadi alayhi salam. Ja'far al-Kadhab. Because he claimed the imamah. After Imam Al-Askari alayhi salam, he claimed the imamah for himself. He was not a virtuous person, unfortunately. Son of the Imam, but subhanallah. يخرج الخبيث من الطيب. And it is said in the hadith, that's why the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alihi, he called Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq al-Sadiq. One of the reasons why he called him al-Sadiq is to distinguish him from Ja'far al-Kadhab, so that people don't get confused down the road between those two. This man is an Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq. This man is not an Imam, he is Ja'far al-Kadhab. One of the reasons why he's called al-Sadiq salamullah alayhi is for this reason. One of the reasons. Ja'far al-Kadhab. One day Imam salamullah alayhi al-Askari was in prison with his own brother Ja'far al-Kadhab. Both in prison. The prisoner was a man by the name of Ali ibn Husayn. Ali says, the Khalifa al-Mu'tamad al-Abbasi told me, go tell Al-Hasan salamullahi alayhi that he's free to go. Tell him he's free to go. Ali says, when I came to the prison, I saw that there is a mule outside waiting. a mule. I saw the Imam Salamullah alayhi with his slippers on. He's ready. He has his clothes ready to leave. So I came and I told him, the Khalifa says that you are free to go. You're free. He says, yes, I know. So he got up and he rode on the mule. Ali says, the prisoner, or the prison guard, sorry, the prison guard. He said, a little while later, I saw him still on the mule. He did not go. I told him, why haven't you left yet? He said, because my brother is still there, Ja'far. We left the house. We were arrested together. I don't want to go back to the house by myself, even though he is Ja'far al-Kadhab. See the akhlaq of the Imam Salamullahi alayhi? This is a man who will contest the imamah of his son. If you know someone is going to contest, never mind the imamah, the inheritance of your son. Never mind. Imamah is much greater than inheritance. Right? You know, you have a brother. You know that he will contest the inheritance of your son. How would you treat your brother? You say, keep him in prison, locked up. It's even better. Make him rot in the prison. Isn't that how we are? That's how we are, right? But look at the akhlaq of the Imam. This is not just forgiving. This is way beyond forgiving. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa Muhammad. Ali told the Imam, Yabna Rasulullah. Oh, sorry, did they not call him that? They called him Yabna Rida. Yabna Rida. Imams who came after Imam Rida were known as Ibn Rida, the sons of Rida. Because Imam Rida became the second man in the state. And hence his children were known as Ibn Rida. Salamullahi alayhi. He said, the order came only with your release, not the release of your brother. He said, so go tell the Khalifa that I'm waiting for the release of my brother. So he goes, he says, I went back, I came back, and he said, the Khalifa says, we imprisoned him because of his actions against you. Actions against you. That's why we imprisoned him. But now we will let him go for you. So they let him go, and they both rode on the mule and headed back. This is the akhlaq of Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam. This is not just forgiving, this is forgetting. This nobility comes with the sincere intentions, niyyah. It comes from the complete submission, the proper aqeedah. So brothers and sisters, always pray to Allah to make our niyyah sincere. Our aqeedah, our belief in Allah, genuine, comprehensive. How? By following the examples of Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam. These stories, brothers, are not just stories. This story of the Imam with his brother, Ja'far al-Kadhab, is not just a nice story. And we hear it and we recite salawat for it. How many of us will apply this in our lives? How many of us will leave this, and those who are watching us online and maybe over the satellite channels, would actually say, I'm going to now forgive and forget what my brother or my sister has done to me, what my fellow mu'min has done to me. Let me start a new page. Let me move on. How many of us will do that actually? If we can't, then we need to pray to Allah to elevate our iman to reach that status. Right? It means our iman has a problem. Because husnul khuluq thamaratul aql. Virtuous manners is the fruit or the result of the mind, proper aql. Such were the examples of Ahlul Bayt. Yet this Imam Salamullahi alayhi, he was freed that time, but another time they gave him the poison when he was only about 28, 29 years of age, very young. Before he dies, he sent a servant of his to an area close to Baghdad by the name of Mada'in. Imam was in Samarra. The servant, he told him, I want you to take these letters of mine to some people in Mada'in. And they will write a response back to you. Bring the response back. It will take you 15 days going and coming. You will enter Samarra on the 15th day. When you enter Samarra, you'll hear people crying for me. I would have gone. I would have died. You will enter into the house and find my body lying down. He says, then what should I do, Ya Ibn Rasulullah, when that happens? He says, you follow the one who will ask you about the letters, the responses. He will ask you. And the one who will pray over my dead body. He will pray. And the one who will ask about the belt. Belt. The servant said, I was too embarrassed to ask the Imam what belt. So I kept quiet. خلاص. 3 signs, right? Pray over my body. Ask for what? Letters. And the third thing, the belt. This servant says, I went. I came back truly, as the Imam said. Indeed, it took me 15 days. The 15th day I came back, I saw the Imam's body, salamullah alayh. He was given the poison, salamullah alayh. When they gave him the poison, they increased the guards around him. And they brought him doctors as a cover. The government is saying, look, we're looking after him, huh? Look, all these doctors, we brought all these doctors. And they brought all these guards to monitor because they're looking for who? They know he has a son, or he should have a son. And his son will be who? The one who will inherit the earth. They know this. They know the ahadith. They're looking for that son. And they sent not only guards, male guards, female guards, to inspect the wives, to see if there's any one of them is pregnant right now. They did not know he was born. So imagine what kind of security he had to live under. As he was in prison, as he was given the poison, he had no access with people. He was surrounded by guards, doctors brought by the government itself, male and female people, spies looking at him and his wives. This was his condition, salamullah alayh. Imagine how madhlumeen were Ahlul Bayt, salamullah alayh. When, God forbid, someone is on his deathbed, he wants to see his family around him. He wants to see his children standing next to him. He wants to bid farewell to them. His last moments in dunya. Imam salamullah alayh had these prisoners, these prison guards. The government standing all around him. No access to his own family members. Rather, he has to worry about his wives being inspected by these guards, these female guards. Not an easy state. Salamullahi alayhim. This is what they had to go through so that you and I can pray. You and I can have good manners. You and I can become good Muslims and good Shia. Isn't it time that we actually now follow them? Isn't it time that we change? This is what they went through in their lives. And then he left dunya, salamullahi alayhi, alone, gharib in Samarra. And he is still gharib. I just came from Iraq. We went to do the ziyarah of all the imams except the ones in Samarra. Salamullahi alayhim. The roads were not safe. Until today, people cannot go to their ziyarah in peace. Still gharib. The servant says, I came back. I saw his body lying down there. I said, what is the matter? They told me the Imam has died. Salamullahi alayhi. I saw the servant, a servant of the Imam, coming to Ja'far al-Kadhab. And he told him, your brother has died, so will you lead the salat? This man, the servant who came back, he said, my goodness, is he going to be the Imam? It will be a disaster. He knew who he was. He says, but I kept there waiting. He says, Ja'far came to lead the salat. He stood there on the body. Just as he stood, I saw a young boy His face is so bright with Iman, with Noor. He came out, he said, "Uncle, step aside. You know only me who can pray over the body of my father." The uncle did not even know of the existence of the Mahdi salamullahi alayhi. He did not even know. He did not even argue with him because of the haiba of the Imam, that honor. Although he was 5 years old, a child in our terms. But he had that respect, that honor of an Imam. Told him, "Uncle, step aside." He came and he said, "Allahu Akbar." He prayed the salat over the body of his father, salamullahi alayhi. Then he took care of the burial of his father. And he buried his father, salamullahi alayhi, in Samagra, Gharib. Then he turned to that servant afterwards and told him, "Where are the letters?" The servant gave it the letters. He said, "These are 2 signs now, fulfilled." He says, as we were sitting down, a group of visitors came from the city of They came to Ja'far, thinking that he is the Imam. They did not know. They said, "We have some money with us. Before we give it to you though, if you are truly the Imam, tell us how much money is here." Ja'far got upset. He said, "What, do you want me to know the ghaib? The knowledge of the unseen?" A servant came out from a room inside. He told them, "The master, the Mawla, says, give me the belt. And you have 1,000 dinars in the belt." They gave him the belt. The servant says the 3 signs were fulfilled. I knew this was my Imam. I say, "May ya Imam, this is the Imam of our time now. On this day he must be in deep grief for the loss of his father. Because he remembers this, he saw this, brothers and sisters." But I turned to his father, Al-Imam Al-Askari alayhi salam, and I say, "Yabna Rasulullah, every father has a right over his son. So I'm requesting you to ask your son to attend our majlis. To ask your son to consider us, inshallah, among their sincere followers, a sincere Shia. To ask your son to attend the time when we are going to be in the grave." And I say to the Imam, salamullahi alayhi, our Imam, "Yabna Rasulullah, you came to the body of your father, Al-Imam Al-Askari alayhi salam. But who was there on the day of Ashura for Abi Abdullah Al-Hussein in Karbala?" Zainab alayhi salam stood there looking at the body of Abi Abdullah Al-Hussein. A body without a head, a body covered in spears and arrows. And then she saw the family of Al-Hurr ibn Yazid al-Riyahi, Radwanullahi ta'ala alayh. They came and they said to Umar ibn Sa'd, "We want the man. We want our man. We don't want you to sever his head or to bury him, leave him here." He said, "Take him, he's yours." She saw the family taking the body of Hurr and taking it away. At that moment she turned to Medina and she said, "Assalamu alayka ya Jadda. Assalamu alayka ya Rasul Allah. هذا حسينك في العراء." This is Hussein. This is your Hussein lying here on the plains of Karbala. This is Hurr. His family just came to pick him up. Doesn't this man, this Gharib, have a family who will come to look after him? Doesn't your son have someone to bury him? Isn't there anyone to look after his family and children? She turned towards Kufa and cried, "Aywa Aliyah! Aywa Abata! Here is your daughter Zainab, Gharibatun fi Karbala. I am a stranger here in Karbala, no helper, no supporter. Where is your Abbas, ya Zainab? He is next to the river of Furayat with no right hand or left hand.
with an arrow in his eye. His head is on the spear looking at me. أيوة عليا أيوة مصيبته إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين. Brothers and sisters, raise your hand for the dua. Our Imam Salamullahi alayh is too honorable. That is my faith. I think he is too honorable, too great not to attend the majlis of his father. Salamullahi alayh. We are unworthy, but he is worthy. So inshallah, he is attending this majlis of ours, inshallah. And with his presence, dua is definitely accepted. Laylat al-Jumu'ah, the eve of istighfar. And we all have hajat. We all have needs before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And our biggest need is the shafa'ah of Ahlul Bayt, alayhim salam, in dunya and the qabr of the akhirah. Our biggest need is for the Imam to hasten his reappearance, to come back and we become among his soldiers, to hasten his reappearance and to save the Shia from the calamities they're facing in this day and age. Everyone, everybody, I want you to shout, call, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء أما يجيب المضطر أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه. اللهم إنا نسألك وندعوك باسمك العظيم الأعظم الأعز الأجل الأكرم يا الله 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 إلهي بفاطمة وأبيها وبعلها وبنيها والسر المستودع فيها اكشف عنا السوء يا الله. اللهم اغفر ذنوبنا يا الله، كفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار يا الله. اللهم نقسم عليك بالإمام الغريب العسكري سلام الله عليه إلا ما جعلتنا وذريتنا إلى يوم الدين من شيعة أمير المؤمنين المتقين يا الله، ومن خدمة الحسين المخلصين يا الله. اللهم بغريب سامراء انصر شيعة أمير المؤمنين في مشارق الأرض ومغاربها يا الله. إلهي بغريب سامراء اقض حوائج المؤمنين والمؤمنات، شافي وعافي جميع مرضى المؤمنين والمؤمنات. اللهم على الخصوص من أوصونا بالدعاء منهم اقض حوائجهم، شافي مرضاهم، احفظهم في أوطانهم وبيوتهم وديارهم بحفظك وارحمهم برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. رب اغفر لي ولوالدي وارحمهما كما ربياني صغيرا، اجزهما بالإحسان إحسانا وبالسيئات غفرانا. رب اجعلني مقيم الصلاة ومن ذريتي ربنا وتقبل دعاء. اللهم عجل لوليك الفرج
واجعلنا من شيعته وأنصاره وأعوانه والمستشهدين بين يديه. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه. Everyone في هذه هو في كل هو وليا وقائدا هو دليلا حتى تسكنه أرضك وتمتعه فيها برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم أرنا الطلعة الرشيدة والغرة الحميدة واكحل أنظارنا بنظرة منا إليه. اللهم نقسم عليك بالزهراء فاطمة إلا ما رزقتنا شفاعة الزهراء يا الله يا الله يا الله يا الله، لقضاء الحوائج ولشفاء المرضى ولكشف هذه الغمة عن هذه الأمة ولتعجيل فرج مولانا صاحب العصر والزمان. وإلى أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات لا سيما أرواح أموات الجالسين والحاضرين especially for the روح of مرحومة عليمة بقم daughter of محمد سليس رحم الله من يقرأ السورة المباركة الفاتحة مع الصلوات. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.